Welcome to the AmCham channel. I am Anthony Galliano, President of the American Chamber of Commerce in Cambodia. The AmCham channel, where we focus on the latest market developments and latest issues concerning business here in Cambodia. Today I am joined by a friend of mine, KM Tan. KM is the managing partner of Baker Tilly Cambodia and a CPA. And also, he is a fellow chamber head. He is the president of the Malaysian Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, KM.
Thank you, Anthony.
Right. Today, we're going to focus on audits. Audits can be a sensitive topic. It's probably one of the most grueling experiences to go through for a taxpayer. It's sort of like getting a divorce or moving house or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But KM is going to talk to us about preparing for audits, going through the audit process, negotiating, and how to have a good outcome in audits. So KM, are we ready to talk about audits?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So can you first tell us what types of audits are there?
The main law that you must have referred to is law on taxation, of course. Then there's a Prakas 270. So this is the one that I suggest taxpayer go and read through this Prakas 270 because they give you a lot of guidelines. What is your right? I always focus what is your right as a taxpayer. Yeah. So basically, just to simplify the topic, tax audit get classified under 3 categories. One is desk audit, and then second is the limited audit. Third one is comprehensive audits. Yeah.
Okay. And what are the differences between the 3?
Yeah, I will say that this is the step 1, 2, and 3. So step 1 is the desk audit. Desk audit is happen on we call the audit by the tax office on specific issue, and that when they spotted based on your tax return submitted, then if they found any issue, they may call you to explain, or sometimes in the current situation, they may not even call you to explain because they see it's an obvious mistake in the return. They just issue you tax reassessment, and there's no on-site tax audits. Yeah.
So it's very issue specific.
It's very specific,
Okay.
but based on the tax return that you submitted to GDTs. Yeah.
And then there's the limited audit?
Yeah, limited audit is the second one. I will say is a audit on the monthly tax return. So they will focus on your monthly tax return, but they will cover more extensive area whereby there will be an on-site audit. Then they also will require you to submit all the tax return documentations, your accounting documentation, whatever proof or document or contract that they may want to see. So, but they are very much focused on the monthly tax return, which is focused on the VAT and also salary tax, 1% prepayment of profit tax. So those are the areas that they focus. Yeah.
Okay. And the comprehensive finally?
That one is we call it's a full audit. We call it full audit. So the comprehensive audit is conducted by the Department of Enterprise Audits. So they will go into the very far extent. So they will take everything from you. Eventually, they want you to present all your financial records. Bank statement, that's the one that they need the most. And they even can ask you to provide some of your personal bank accounts. We have some cases, but they can go into very far extent, but you need to know your right. So comprehensive audit will audit all the way from your monthly tax return, yearly tax return, and they go back to your financial statement, to your ledgers, bank accounts, all the supporting documents. Yeah.
And how far back can the GDT go for a comprehensive audit?
Comprehensive audit, now under the law, they can do 3 years. 3 years. So that means current years, backtrace to the last 2 years. Okay. So it's N years, we call N plus, go to N-1 and -2. Yeah.
Okay, so very basically, what type of information, and I think you mentioned most of it, do you need to provide during an audit?
Yes. So, of course, first thing is, I think the audit-wise is, normally they will want to trace whatever you submitted to GDT. So monthly tax, yearly tax, from there they want to trace backwards. So normally the trace backward is your financial statement. They will expect you will have a full set of financial statement. If you don't have, then you will subject to a lot of we call assumptions.
It's the financial statements pretty new in
Yes.
terms of enforcement. I think it's been on the books for a long time.
Yes,
But in
yes,
terms of providing accounting records,
yes, yes.
balance sheet, P&L,
Right,
general
right.
ledger, this is relatively over the last couple of years, correct?
Yes, yes, yes. So when I mention about financial statement, of course, like what Anthony will say, balance sheets, income statement, these are the two basic things. But now, of course, with the enforcement of the accounting and also auditing regulator, so they also ask you if you qualify for the criteria subject to external audit, then you are expected to submit your external financial audited statement, audited by the third party, which is the competent audit firms. Yeah.
Right. So I think a lot of the SMEs really haven't been able to do accounting yet.
Yes, yes, yes.
So this is absolutely a requirement for SMEs
Yes,
as well.
yes.
So if you don't, it's kind of an obstruction immediately.
Yes.
By not having accounting statements.
Yeah.
So you have to do accounting statements.
Accounting statement. Yes.
Even if you're a small taxpayer, no, but medium and up?
Yes, medium and up. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how can a company best prepare for an audit?
Yeah, I think to best prepare for audit, I think first thing is you need to make sure if you have your staff or your accountant who are qualified and also knowledgeable in terms of the tax law. If you don't, then I would suggest you should go to seek for the assistance from the competent tax agent and also tax consultant, because the whole process of audit, you will face a lot of questions, inquiry, and also challenges on your accounting treatments, on your record. So, and also you have to be careful, because if you answer it wrongly and give the wrong piece of information, then you will open yourself into the unnecessary damage. You must have a competent people to really deal with the tax officer. This is number one. And then, but I want to summarize the whole thing is only three. The three keyword is preparation, and preparation. Yeah. So prepare yourself with the qualified people, and prepare yourself with the record that you think that based on the law is your right to submit. Some is the things that you think that is necessary to give, or some is you think that you have the right not to give if they are going to be we call more extensive than what you can expect. So the third one is prepare to be patient. Yeah.
I think one of the things certainly I've recognized is that the quality and competency of auditors has dramatically increased.
Yes.
And that, I believe, is the tax department, the GDT, has hired a lot from the private sector.
Yes, that's right.
So you see that auditors are now scouring the internet, trying to find out a lot of information for the company. They're also calling the company and trying to place orders to see pricing.
Right.
Going to retail stores to see where products are placed.
Right.
So I would call it that there's an extraordinary due diligence done in these audits by the auditors. So it's best always to be honest, because you're going to get caught out, right?
Yeah, you're right. So of course now, as what you say, as compared to the old days, you can see the tax auditor, their skill set is already improved tremendously.
Fair to say, better than most companies.
Yes, better than most companies, because you can imagine some of them come from the top tiers accounting firms, and some of them already trained in the tax and in the audit field, so they are very good and sharp. So, but in a way that they know what they are looking for, so you cannot simply deny by saying that you don't have or this and then you don't know this. So that is your responsibility as taxpayer. So for them, they just want to carry their work. So you better have to deal with them professionally. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are the typical mistakes that people make, I guess, in the tax returns and in an audit?
Yeah, I think the common issue is, I think one of the topic that most companies face is the related party loan.
Yes.
So it's the loan from the holding company, loan from shareholders, and being a company set up in Cambodia, is inevitably the shareholder will put in the fund without the proper documentation, because they never think that they should have loan agreement, they never think that they should have charged interest. So that will fall into the we call the tax rule that related party loan, you have to be conducted at the arm's length. basis. So that is the number one issue that most of the company will face.
I think the trap here is that the capitalization under the law of commercial enterprises starts out at like $1,000.
Yes, yes.
So companies always, I think in the beginning, sort of said, I'll capitalize at the lowest possible capital amount. But you exhaust right away. So then it becomes shareholder loans when you're injecting capital rather than equity. And the trick here is that if you don't want to pay the withholding tax on the interest, or you don't want to have to go through the burden of having shareholder loans, which I think is one of the number one issues that are focused on audits. You need to increase your capital.
Yes, yes.
And that kind of solves the issue.
Right. Yeah.
But shareholder loans it's sort of the number one target I'm seeing as well.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of companies, they have monies lent at Australia, Singapore, or US, where the interest rates are quite low. But in Cambodia, the auditors reassess at about 8% plus.
Yes.
So you really need to have your transfer pricing document in place. To justify a lower rate than.
Yes.
Even then, it's a bit of a battle to get it at a lower rate. But still, if you don't have transfer pricing document done by a professional who does the comparative analysis, the functional analysis, and so forth, it's going to be hard to justify a lower rate.
Yes, you're right.
What other kind of mistakes do you or issues do you find in audits? Typical.
Typical, then the second, there are some area but I can just name a few, which is the salary of the directors, and even some of the salary of especially a lot of SME, when their owner, they are also involved in the management role, so they think that they don't want to burden the company by drawing a salary, so they just put quite a low salary at beginning. So that was subject to the challenge because according to tax law, if you are the tax resident in Cambodia, then you're subject to the worldwide income tax. So in a way that they may query, how come a GM can just draw a $500 or $800? Then they will do a dim basis to adjust your salary to the level that they think is reasonable. And then with that also fringe benefit will come in, because normally they will provide accommodations.
I kind of think the shareholders drawing a salary is a bit ironic. Maybe shareholders putting in equity, and they don't want to start taking expenses out right away, putting it back. So they take money out of their pocket. If they start drawing a salary, they're putting it back in their pocket. Which is kind of counterproductive to the growth of the company. So do shareholders have to draw a salary?
In fact, shareholders do not really need to draw salary if you can justify the company have the proper structure. If you have you already have managers, you have accountants, so the company can run as a proper organization. Then shareholder can just sit back to enjoy the dividends when the company make profits.
They can still be a working shareholder without a salary?
Yes.
Okay, so I noticed that expatriate salaries are questioned quite a bit in audits.
Yes.
I think it's curious. I once had a conversation with the head of a tax branch, and he told me he thought every expat in the country makes $10,000 plus. And I kind of told him that this is not the case, especially with teachers, let's say, or even sort of minor roles that you have.
Right.
And I think even to some extent, a lot of the Khmer salaries are certainly catching up on the same functional role with an expat salary, sometimes even more.
Yes, you're right.
So I think this argument that expats are making multiples of a Khmer salary is probably not true these days.
Right.
So it's hard. You have to justify that, but I think that's maybe something that the GDT has to also get to grips with, that expats aren't all making $20,000. So I guess it's curious that the margin issue, not every business performs the same.
Yes.
That's why some people, when they're publicly traded, have better stock prices, multiples, PEs than others. So having industry average, I think, is good, but saying you have to be with that average, some companies won't do that well, especially when they start.
Yes.
So the auditors generally get around this and kind of accept it?
Yes. I think as you're right, because, and again, we have to remember Cambodia is a free market, because the government always say this is the market that is a free market, there's no interference in the pricing, so it shouldn't be any interference. So I think, like what you say, startup tend to charge lower, makes sense, and then not every company enjoy the good margin as others, and also some is due to economy of scales. So I think important is you must stand firm and you make sure that you have the billing bill to third party which is very clear and based on the tax law, and your charge out expense off based on the tax invoice you collected, and then you have a very clear transaction of collection through the bank accounts, all these things. I think you stand a good chance.
I think the point about the bank accounts is very important.
Yes.
Auditors definitely scour through those bank statements.
Yes. Right.
If you have sales that you haven't reflected on the tax return, or you have expenses that you haven't, you could really get caught out for not paying VAT or not paying withholding tax and so forth. So I think the concept we try to enforce in our company is the tax return has to equal the accounting statement, has to equal the bank statement.
Yes.
And you have to have that three-way reconciliation.
True, yes.
And if you have that three-way reconciliation, you should be...
you should be all right. Yeah.
And I just want to reinforce also, how important is accounting statements?
Accounting statement is very important.
Very important.
Very important, yeah.
And a lot of companies still don't do it.
Yeah, still don't do it. And then,
we could clarify something else.
Yes,
Excel is not an accounting system.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, you can't simply put up the Excel as a financial statement because they will ask you the general ledgers.
Right.
Transaction by transaction.
But even doing accounting on Excel, I mean, accounting is double entry. Excel is single entry, so it doesn't really work out.
Yes.
So you have to have a proper accounting system.
Right.
And any recommendations for accounting systems in the market that you see that being used typically?
I think because of course QuickBooks have been very popular in Cambodia. So, but there's a lot of choice now because with the crowd accounting, some of the there's a lot of local make accounting system now to cater for the need for Khmer language and even for the Khmer real. Yeah, there is. So you have a lot of choice, and they are not expensive.
I think there's Zero. We use
Zero. It's crowd-based, per use basis, subscription. So
and for simple accounting, it's pretty good.
Yes.
It doesn't get into the cost accounting aspects. And just simple accounting.
Right.
Okay, so we got through some of the minefields, I guess, in an audit. And I think always in an audit, you need to act professionally.
Yes.
You know, the auditor's doing their job.
Yes.
It can get a little heated sometimes.
Right.
Everybody's doing their job, and it's really important to act professional and really argue the facts.
Yes.
Arguing the facts, I think, is the most important. But there are going to be times where you get a reassessment.
Yes,
So can you describe what a reassessment is?
Of course, reassessment is a very common paper that a lot of enterprise receive now. So reassessment is the additional tax that reassessed by the tax office based on the finding of the auditors. So the finding can come in the way that they feel there's a mismatch between your accounting records and your tax return. So that the difference then
the bank statement.
Or the bank statement, of course. Yeah. And then a lot of enterprise, they just think that I just don't want to give them bank statement, but don't forget now tax office have a huge power in a way that they just can go through their system to ask for the bank statement from the bank directly. So that is what happened.
You've seen this happen.
I've seen this happen.
Even personal bank accounts.
Personal bank account, of course, I think at the moment there's very rare, because normally they will focus on the company, but in the way that if there's very clear evidence that they suspect that then they may ask you to provide. Yeah.
I think I've had a situation where a client volunteered to give the bank statement because the auditor did not believe the salary.
Yes.
So there was a clear trail that this person was getting paid a salary of that amount. So sometimes it's actually to the benefit.
Yes.
As proof to give it to them.
Right.
So reassessment, I think initially can be very scary.
Yes.
They're getting higher these days. And then again, that's just really a starting point.
Yes.
Because I think certainly you could get very shocked by what you see when you initially have a reassessment, but there's a process.
It's a process, yes.
So can we go through the process of, I guess, objections?
Yeah. So when you got the reassessment, the tax reassessment, in the way that you have 30 days from the day of you receive the notice, then you have to react and respond within 30 days. Otherwise, it will be deemed that you accept the tax reassessment itself. So that will keep you into the situation that you, in the way that you're being accused that you already accepted. So you must in the way that lodge your protest letter within 30 days if you don't agree with the basis of reassessment.
Okay, and objection letters can be several times, not
Yeah.
only just one time.
Yes. So based on the law, so when the protest lodged by the taxpayer, so the tax office have 60 days to respond to you. But of course, 60 days is under the guideline and the rule. But based on the actual scenario, not necessarily within 60 days they will come out with the written reply, because sometimes it's back and forth asking for different kind of the evidence. So 60 days they may reissue the reassessment with the same amount if they don't, if they feel that the protest that you lodged in have no basis and not convincing.
Right.
So that is the things. Then you also can lodge in your second protest when you have the reply.
I think it kind of maxed out about 3, if I remember. I think we've done about 3.
Yes.
But look, I think it's always important to try to settle.
Yes.
Because you don't want this to go on too long and go further down the line. So if there's a point of settling, it's the best is to try to settle, especially if you're on a tax branch level.
Yes.
You don't want to push that up to a GDT and go higher, because it just doesn't seem that you're able to get compromise and be able to settle.
Right. Yeah.
So, but after 3 objections or so, where does it go from there?
Yeah, so there's one department called litigation department within the GDT itself. So if the tax, we call the tax office that audit you cannot resolve within 2 protests, so that you can escalate to this litigation department. So they are still under GDT, but it's managed by different departments. So there seems to be third party to hear the case. Yeah.
So is that involving the folks from the MEF?
No, not yet. So it's within the litigation. If you're still not happy, and the litigation will give you we call their decision. If you are not still happy, you still have 30 days to protest. So that is your last chance at the GDT. If you still don't want to settle in the GDT itself, then you have to escalate to Tax Arbitration Council. So we call TAC.
Have you ever been through that?
No, luckily no. And then we always advise client don't settle at GDT level, because that will be go into the committee chaired by the Minister of Finance.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And then I understand if that doesn't work, you could actually go to court.
Yes, there's of course the laws spell that if you still feel that the decision by TAC not acceptable by you, you have the last chance to file your case to the competent law. But remember, in Cambodia currently, there's no specific law designated to hear the tax case. So we also I believe they will go into certain competent law at the moment. So there are no specific law, because no specific court at the moment.
Okay.
But not
Have
many.
you ever heard of a case going?
I think there's a few cases going on. Yeah.
Must be very big.
Yeah, must be very big. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like then to ask you a final question.
Right.
Any recommendations on how you could pass an audit successfully? You handle audits. I handle audits.
Yes.
It could, like we say, it could be very grueling. It can be a long process, a lot of negotiation.
Yes.
A lot of evidence needs to be provided. A lot of fact needs to be provided, and also, even in that case, you have to be convincing. Because there is some arbitrary discussions on margins, like we said.
Right.
Sale expectations, even though you have everything documented.
Yeah.
You have to still be convincing this is how your business is performing. So what are your recommendations on successfully passing an audit?
Yeah, I think when you receive the tax audit notice, the first thing is during the audit process, you need to make sure you have the competent person to represent you, because that is very important. And I would suggest you to run we call the tax health check on the company, on the years or the period that you are subject to audit by the tax audit notice. So that will give you a clear positions. Then at least you know your framework, how you're going to deal with the tax office. Then second thing is deal with them professionally. They are doing their jobs. You also make sure that you have the competent staff answer the query based on the law, and also provide the evidence based on the law. And important is, I always encourage when you talk to them, minute it down, because now even the tax auditor, they also can put in the minutes to write down what are the discussion that you carry on as at now. So that would be a very good record to keep track the progress, and then don't ignore their requests, because a lot of taxpayers, they just say just drag on, don't give any documents. So then when the clock is ticking, the tax auditor may just take on the dim basis if there's no evidence.
Yeah, we have the famous Fifth Amendment in the U.S. where you have the right to remain silent.
Yeah,
I think being silent in this case and not providing that document is more incriminating. So it's important to provide those documents.
Yeah.
We talked about how the competency levels of the GDT auditors have increased, and actually for me it's been more of a pleasure dealing with them. Because they clearly are very knowledgeable in accounting, knowledgeable in the tax law, and it makes things easier. By having smarter people to deal with. So congratulations to the GDT on that. But we also must face it that everybody is completely doing their job properly. So I think I just saw an announcement from the GDT about reporting in cases where maybe you're not feeling you're getting a fair treatment. So there is a mechanism within the GDT to report if you're feeling that you may not be getting fair treatment by an auditor. Correct?
Yeah, correct. I think GDT have been improved so much year by year, and I even say month by month, the system improvement. And also now with all the we call the documentation tracking, you can just using the QR to scan, then you know the status of your tax audit. So
I mean, you and I have been in this business a long time. It's amazing how
it's amazing transformation.
It's amazing transformation. I look at the standardization of branches. You know, every branch would look different when I first started. If I remember going in looking for your tax return, you had piles and piles, and the tax department would just say you could go look yourself and find it. And also, I think all the complete digitalization, the fact that you're filing tax returns online, paying taxes online. You used to carry a lot of cash around. And that was a big risk. Paying cash, you had dollars.
I went through that. I put a whole bunch of notes on the table.
I remember paying $70,000. You know, having to go to the bank and taking $70,000 out and converting it to real. You know, for one of our clients. So congratulations, amazing job done by the GG. Tax registration as well. You know, now that we're through the online system, everything's done in 14 days. Quite amazing. So tax is really a subject of people don't like to talk about, but they're doing their job, and it's been an incredible transformation. How the tax department has really entered the digital age and making everything more efficient to deal with. Congratulations to the GDT. It's a pleasure working. Well, thank you, Cam. It was a great conversation. A lot of insights, a lot of helpful. Thank you for being on the AmCham channel.
Thank you for having me. I think this is the section that we just want to talk it and then let all the people that understand the process and then take it as a process, and rather than always complain, take it as a part of the process that the country is evolving.
And honesty is the best policy.
Honesty is the best policy. Transparency.
Be honest in your tax reporting.
Right. Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And another great session on the AmCham channel. We'll see you soon.
See you
Thanks.
soon. Bye.